Perfect. You can begin. The session is being recorded.
All right. Thank you so much. So this session as scheduled is on AI training and system architecture. So it's going to be more of like in the morning, practice, like just demonstration. So what we are going to actually do here is we're going to come up with, well, I'm going to demonstrate how we could use the different AI tools to come up with a simple software. Yeah, just to save time, it won't be something, since we don't have enough time or the whole day. It's going to be just a simple software that we can come up using the different AI tools. So let's dive straight into it. Yeah, but before we do it, now I'm going to align my session, or I'm going to center it to specific AI tools. That's basically Gemini, that will do mainly everything, then anti-gravity, draw.io, then then probably Gamma for slide generation. Yeah. So let me share my screen and dive straight into what I'm gonna have today. So if you're able to see my screen, please emoji. Okay, thank you. All right, let me close this and we start with something new. All right, so it's my desktop. So we all know that, okay, what we are going to build today is a simple receipt generator. Yeah, a simple receipt generator, because I looked at a simple software that I could use to demonstrate, or that I would use to build using these AI tools. Font increase. I think I'm not sharing anything right now yet, but I'll surely work on that. I'll increase my font when I've started sharing stuff on my screen. Okay, so as I was saying, I looked at a simple receipt generator, something that I could build in just these few hours that we have. And yeah, so let's dive straight into it. So shall open Gemini. All know Gemini is a Google product, and you could use the Chrome app. So most times it's my email I usually use. Now, if you frequently use it, it will of course have a shortcut on your Google UI, as you see here. But those who don't use it, this is where you can get it. Those who don't use it frequently can just go to the Google Apps and then click here. Then it will open a new Gemini UI for you. So from here is where you can start prompting it and asking it whatever you want to do. Now, this is the beauty with AI. You might have an idea, but don't know how to bring it out. You get? So Gemini will help you in brainstorming, creating a master prompt that you actually use, that you actually want, or that you will use to come up or build this now more of a complex system and all that. So right now, I'll assume I'll assume I'm just any other normal person who got an idea to create as a receipt generator, or someone that was given a task by a company that I'm working for. But then maybe I have a limited period of time. So I opted to use AI to build this very fast. But remember what I told you last time. There are some rules that we follow in AI. AI is used ethically. So we have the ethical use of AI. It's not that you just go and give it whatever you want, because it gives feedback based on what you give it. You understand? based on what you give it. So right now, if I typed in Gemini and asked it, who am I? Or tell me who I am, it will give you a full history of who I am, what I do, and okay, based on the history I've been having with it. So AI hallucinates. That's why when you're prompting AI, be specific. You get, know what you want. So if you're building, let's say you're building a simple landing page, and this time around, probably you didn't want to use CSS5, you wanted to use Tailwind. Of course, you prompt Gemini or tell it to generate for me a master prompt that I can paste into now the different web development apps, websites, let's say ZAI or Anti-Gravity and all those. So you tell it to generate for you that prompt. Now, at the back of it, for it, okay, remember you've just told it to generate the prompt, but you haven't specified the languages that you want it to use in the development of this. So it can choose to use any. Most times, since HTML and CSS being the simplest, in fact, these are not even programming languages. More of styles, frameworks that we use for styling, different way in web development. Yeah. So it may generate for you something using HTML and CSS, but yet actually you wanted probably to use Tailwind CSS in styling. You get? So AI doesn't know what you want. It's you who tells it what you want. You get? That's why as a web developer or as an AI programmer, you should have knowledge in all these programming languages. You get? In all these programming languages. Because AI can be 100% confident and 100% wrong. You understand? So if you don't know these programming languages, you don't have any idea about it, trust me, or you build something vague, like something that doesn't match what people expect out of you, yet you claim to be probably a programmer or something. And when you're presenting this to the people, you're not going to blame AI, of course. You won't tell it, you won't tell the guys, or you won't tell your bosses or whoever's given you that task that, you know what, it's not me who did this, it's AI. Now, they don't want to know that all they'll do, if the thing doesn't come out as expected, you'll be the one that will be blamed. You get? Not AI being blamed. Now, that's why we say you have to use it ethically. You have to know, have all the background knowledge. So during this demonstration, you'll see that most of the things will be done automatically. You will not have to maybe push those version controls that you guys have been taken through for the past weeks, and then just earlier this morning AI can do that. You just tell it, push this to this repo, pull this to this repo. But how will you actually, someone who doesn't have any knowledge about version control won't be able to tell it to push, won't be able to tell it to pull. You get? So all I'm trying to say, or what I'm trying to mean here, is that before you dive into using AI, have a background knowledge of whatever you're going to do. If you're coming up with maybe a school management system, I remember that's what I used the first time I trained on this. I had a session on AI training and system architecture. Yeah, I gave an example of a school management system that I and my team designed. Yeah, it was a simple one that we designed, but all these we used actually built this using AI, though some things were hard coded, but most of it was built using AI. But what made this come out? What made this come out as expected, or what made it come out as a marvelous project? It's because we had ideas of whatever we were doing. You get? We had ideas of whatever we were doing. Now, someone who just thinks AI can build for them something wouldn't actually come up with something of this kind. Now, most times people have actually what is circulating that AI, we no longer need software engineers, we no longer need computer scientists because AI can do that. It's true, AI can build you something that a software engineer will take months to do. You can probably do it in less than even a day, or less than 3 hours and you've come up with something that would take a single software engineer to build in months and all that. But what makes you build something nice and better is having knowledge about whatever you're planning on building, whatever you're going to do, and systematically. So that's where I'll be talking about the SDLC, the System Development Lifecycle, or the Software Development Lifecycle. It's a cycle most software engineers or guys in IT or whoever, in fact, whoever is coming up with a software has to follow. Yeah, whoever is coming up with a software has to follow for you to come up with a marvelous project. All right, so that was just a simple recap on what I spoke about, and I'm sure most of you have heard about it already. So what I'm about to do right now, many of you have probably used these AI tools. Some of you maybe know more of the technical bit of it. Others don't know. Others know moderately, or they are mediocre. They are mediocres in these AI tools. But what you're doing right now is I'm taking everyone at the same level. I'm assuming we all don't know anything. We are all starting from scratch. But it's very fine if you know something. I'm open to challenges. You can air out your view and tell me this is how I did this, or I met this AI tool somewhere and used it to do this and this. Yeah, because we learn from each other. And besides, this is not a lecture. This is a session. Yeah, I'm meant to train you on what I know. But it's very possible that you know something that I don't know. So it's very okay with you to raise it out and tell me. Yeah, all right. Thank you. Anyways, before we really dive in, is anything someone wants to say something? Okay, if we can continue, please drop an emoji.
Evans,
Yes, please.
I have a question that is outside that. Why do they say that a cat, curiosity killed a cat? Why do they say that?
Why do they say curiosity killed a cat? Okay,
Yeah.
based on my own understanding, I haven't really looked into why they always say that, but I think I think we all know what curiosity means. Most times you want to find out what is happening here and what is really going on here. So at times you fall into the lion's den, and I think that's where that whole proverb came up from.
Yeah, it's fine. You can proceed.
All right. I think I get right. All right. Anyways, let's dive straight into it. So I've opened a fresh chat with Gemini, and I'm simply, at this point, I simply have an idea, a receipt, an AI automated receipt generator. All right. So I'm going to tell it, I want to design an AI automated receipt generator. So what I'm doing right now is I'm brainstorming. You get? I just have an idea, but as a software engineer, I know there are steps that I have to follow. So I've given Gemini, and it's of course going to tell me. So this is what it's telling me at this point. So designing an AI-powered receipt generator is an excellent project. Sit at a 6. Okay, that's all relevant. It's giving me all these procedures. Okay. Now, at this point, at the back of my head, or as an AI programmer, I know the tools that I have to use, but I basically have an idea. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to tell it. So I'm going to follow the system development life cycle. Yeah, the system development life cycle, the SDLC. So at this point, I'm going to tell it, I want you to act as a business analyst and generate the procedures I have to follow in development of this system. All this should evolve around the system development lifecycle. So that's just an abbreviation. Okay. So it has broken for me the system development lifecycle in phases. So as you can see here, the first phase is the planning phase and the feasibility studies. So this is basically where you sit with the people who have given you the task, or the stakeholders involved in this project. You sit with them, come up, you discuss what the system actually wants. What the system should actually have, what it should do, and how it should do it. So that's the first phase, the planning phase. So after seeing what the system should do and what it should do, now the next phase is the requirement elicitation and analysis. Now this is the part where we do the requirement gathering. Now what the system does and how it should do it, or what the system needs to do. Okay, what the system needs to execute its purpose and how it will execute that purpose. So the requirement gathering phase. That's when we have two types of requirements, the functional requirements and the non-functional requirements, as you see them here. So the functional requirement, what the system has to do, and non-functional requirements are how the system performs, or how the system does what it. The next phase is in an architecture collaboration. So this is where we look at the different diagrams involved in this system, in generation or development of this of such a system. So here we look at the level 1 DFDs, the level 2 DFDs, the ERDs, the entity relation diagrams, all those. So as you can see, I'm an AI programmer, but I have knowledge that a software engineer has to do or has to have. So now, what advantage do I, where are my advantages to others, to a software engineer who is not using AI and an AI programmer who doesn't have any idea about software engineering or system development? Is that I combine two. I have the idea and also know how to use AI. So in that way, I come up with something nice in a shortest period of time. Okay, so in this part of system design, that's where I'm going to ask the same Gemini to generate an XML code that I'll paste in draw.io. Then it will generate for me the diagrams that I need and the wireframing, the blueprints that I need for all that, as we shall see as we proceed. Then the implementation phase, the development. So now this is where we write the code, the real code. Now here we shall not be writing hard code, maybe open an IDE like VS Code, Notepad, PyCharm, and all that, then write all those codes. Now we have AI tools that are designed to do this. Anti-gravity, Claude, Corsa, there are many of them, but I prefer anti-gravity. Yeah, it's user-friendly and it's very good. It's actually good, as they say. Okay, then we have the testing, quality assurance. Well, this we may not have there are AI tools that can do this, but for testing, it now depends. Maybe you choose the method you want to test. Maybe you can take it to market, all that. Then the deployment and maintenance. If you've attended those other sessions earlier on, where we can deploy to GitHub pages, or we deploy on the cloud, Vercel, Netlify, and the rest. Okay, now this is done. So at this point, through the SDLC. Now, what's the next step? What's the next step? I've planned. I know how I'm going to. I know how I'm going to flow in the development of all this. I've gotten everything that I need. So the next step is I need diagrams, or I need certain diagrams that will explain the system, or blueprints that I will be building this system. Now, these diagrams, I could easily paste them into my coding agent or coding tool, maybe anti-gravity. Then it builds this system, or the back end of this system, based on this, based on the diagram. Now, I can tell it, I want you to generate XML code for a context diagram that I will use in building this system. Now, this is what Gemini does. The context diagram, or these different diagrams, the ERDs, or the system architecture, and all those, Gemini doesn't create these diagrams. We have specific tools designed to create these diagrams. Instead of sitting down on a manual paper, sitting down, getting a paper and a pen and manually drawing these diagrams, just prompt Gemini and it will generate for you XML code that can do that. So at this point, it has generated for me this code. Now what I do, I go to draw.io that will now visualize this diagram for me. So there are many of these canvases that help us in generating these diagrams. We have eraser.io and I have draw.io. So now it's simple. Here, just type draw.io. You can open a browser. It doesn't necessarily have to be Chrome, Microsoft, any browser of your choice. Okay. Now, since I was already signed in, it automatically brought me here. But let me assume you're opening it for your first time. It will of course take you to their website. So you tap on the official website and just initialize a canvas. So these square brackets you're seeing here, this squared interface you're seeing right now is called a canvas, and this is where we paste our XML code to generate for us the diagram. So I'll go back to my Gemini that generated for me the XML code. So I simply copy this code, come back to my draw.io and paste the code. Oh, sorry. Let me. Okay, so this is what I was trying to mean. Come to their official website. Now can come here to the Flowchart Make an Online Diagram Software .io. Tap that. So it will launch for you this UI, the canvas as you're seeing. So just paste that. Wow, don't know why it's behaving like this. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Let me just set this. Okay. So these things at times get frustrating, but it's all well. Yes, I'm so sorry about that. I don't know why it's actually behaving like this. It usually doesn't. But let me try to open.
Yeah, in most cases, during such sessions, that's when things don't get to work the way you want. Um,
And I
you'd basically maybe visit any guide to this, and you can run through with us in the guide that shows how to do this. It can be nice if it's written anywhere, if it's possible.
it's okay, but it's just as simple as that. And I just tried it before the session. Anyways, I'm sure if anyone launches theirs right now, as I said, Gemini will generate for you an XML code that generates for you that and visualizes that diagram for you. But for some reasons, I don't know why it's actually behaving this way. But basically, that's what you do. Yeah, it will bring out that image for you, the diagram, the blueprint that that you'll use in generation of this. So at this point, let me leave this for now and get back to all right. So when you're
Someone
done
sent
with that,
something in the chat.
oh,
Mm.
have a look at it. Hey, can you get me? Are you hearing me? Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Just hold on a bit. Stop sharing this. Okay, I've seen the person's suggestion. They're suggesting we use Razor.io. Yeah, I've also looked at. Okay, let's use it and see. Okay, as you can see, thanks so much thanks so much for that. So eraser.io has actually generated the image that I was trying to visualize. And as you can see, this is a simple context diagram. Yeah, that's a simple context diagram for the system that we plan on generating. Now, you see how complex it is. And of course, it needs a lot of commitment for you to actually generate this in probably a day, because coming up with all these blueprints or by manually writing them down, it's literally, okay, it's very hard, as I can say. So now that's the power of AI. And yeah, it brings out this. Okay, thanks for that. Now, that's done. I'm done demonstrating how we could use these canvases to generate a simple, a simple blueprint. Okay, so we are done with that. So I'm now going to tell it. Now I'm looking at the part of now generating a UI. Yeah, we're now going to generate a UI for it. Now remember that these are all I'm still in the I've not yet actually reached, I'm still in the designing phase, planning and designing phase. So now the diagram that the image that we just generated right now, this is the planning phase. So at this point, we are planning how everything flows from the end user. You prompt first, then it generates for you all this. So it's showing you how the whole system will move, like how it will operate. You get it? Now, this is the planning phase. So we are now going to the designing phase, not actually the building phase that we shall use the coding AI tools. So now I'm going to tell it, I want you to generate a master prompt that I will paste into Google Stitch to generate a professional and visual appealing UI. So you see, that's why, okay, that's the power with Gemini and these other AI tools. They actually give you prompts that you would give to other AI tools to produce what you want. You get? So now we want to visualize the UI before building its back end, just the front end of it. Yeah, the UI of the system. So here we shall use Google Stitch. Now I open a new tab like that, then type Google Stitch. Google Stitch AI. Now, of course, there are many that you could actually use. There is can use Figma. Yeah, Figma, Google Stitch, Claude. Those are all different AI tools that help you in visualization of the UI and UX. So you open there, tap on that. Now it will automatically bring you to this. So I now don't need to prompt anything here since Gemini has already generated a master prompt that I can just copy and paste here and produce for me what I actually want. Good. So copy that and paste. So when I so now this is the thing. At times it may take long. Yeah, since we're in a session, We shall just have to be patient and wait. And as you can see, I don't actually have maybe desktop icons for these different tools that I'm using because I don't have my desktop crowded. Now I'm accessing this from the browser, from their browsers direct, and I feel like it's actually the best thing to do rather than having desktop icons. Oh, if you feel you want those, you could actually do it if you can have desktop icons. So you just tap on that if you feel using a browser or getting them from the browser isn't what you would want. So as you can see, it's generating a UI that we'll use. Now from here, as it's generating the UI, let's assume it generates a color that we don't want. So we can now prompt it, and this is the UI that it has generated for us. And let's assume that we have appreciated it and this is what we want to go with. But if not, if you want to change the color themes, you could just prompt it there and maybe tell it use the probably red and white or green and blue, something of that kind. Now, this is what it actually does. So this has been built using HTML and CSS. Yeah, HTML for the for the structure, then CSS for the stylings, the colors, and all those. Now, I want to get the code that has designed this, since I'm sure that now this is what I want, and it's what I'm going to go with as my UI. I want to get it onto my computer desktop. Now, what we are going to do first is, I would suggest we first created a folder. Okay. Okay. So I would suggest we created a folder first. Now, I always love having desktop folders. Okay. So call it a receipt generator. So this is where we shall paste all the files and all those, and this is the folder that we shall open in anti-gravity. Yeah, that we shall open with anti-gravity to build the back end of this. Okay, so we're here. Now, oh, sorry. So you have to first select the screen. So just double click on that. When you click on it, tap on export. Now, I would prefer you exported it as a zipped file, unless you wanted to export it to any, because now these are also coding agents, Bolt AI, then there's also Lovable. Most of out of them who have interacted with them. So I think let's export it as a zip file. Okay, sorry, yeah, it's now exported as a zip folder. So I can open that. So when I open that, what I can simply do is copy these. Okay, let's first tap and see how it will look at. Okay, now this is how our UI will look like. Yeah, that's how our UI will look like. So we are assuming that this is actually what we wanted. but you can keep on prompting based on your, just keep telling Google Stitch what you want. Maybe you don't love the theme, you want green, you want blue, sorry, red or any color. Yeah, it will do it for you. So we're assuming that we appreciated this and it's what we are going with. All right. So I now want to copy these files into the folder that I opened on my desktop. It was the receipt generator. Now, note that you can decide to copy all of them at once or copy one by one, any that you're comfortable with. Okay. At this point, I've now copied all the files that I want into my folder, to the folder that I actually want to use. So all this is now done. Now, what else am I left with? So I now have the UI, but this is just the front end. Like, sorry, what I have is the UI, and I have a system architecture or the diagram that explains how the system has to move or how to run. But how am I going to now build the back end of this, of whatever I'm having here right now? Now that's where we now use anti-gravity. Yeah, it's what I use. So the very first session we had introducing AI tools and system architecture, I showed you how we could get get anti-gravity onto your machine. Maybe I'll just demonstrate it again for those who aren't around. So just still open a tab, anti-gravity.
Are you able to increase your font size a little bit? It's too tiny.
How is that? Still tiny?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Okay. So go to your browser, go to anti-gravity. I mean, type in anti-gravity, then click on anti-gravity download. So go to the official website, which is that. Now, when you open this, you realize there are various anti-gravity modules that that you can actually use. There is anti-gravity 2.0, there is anti-gravity CLI, the anti-gravity IDE, then anti-gravity SDK. Now, which one of these should you actually download? Now, go to the anti-gravity IDE. Now, of course, based on your operating system, those of Mac, Windows, then Linux. Now, the other part comes when it comes to, now let me assume now mine is a Windows. Now I'm assuming I want to download the anti-gravity ID. I'm not going to download it because I already have it. So which of these should I actually download? Now you go to your settings, check. Yeah, you go to your setting, and you check on your operating system. Now most PCs that Dell, HP, ThinkPads all fall under the x64, most of them. So of course you just tap on this. When you tap on it, it downloads. Then the other procedures are just the very procedures you follow when setting up any app onto your desktop. Yeah, the very procedures you follow up when you're setting any app onto your desktop. You agree to all the terms and conditions, then you can choose to either have a desktop icon or not. yeah, then you have it launched on your PC. Okay. So now that's done. So since I already have it, now what I did here now, this is the anti-gravity 2.0. This is how it looks like. And it's what I first downloaded. It's what initially I had the anti-gravity IDE, but when Google was updating their system, by default, everything came back. Those who had anti-gravity, everything came back to the 2.0. Now I re-downloaded the IDE, which I suggest everyone should which I suggest everyone should actually have as their coding tool. So open it. Now most of you don't have to do it the way I've opened it the way I've actually opened, since you would have downloaded the IDE already. Okay, now this is how anti-gravity looks before setting. Okay, after you've set it, after I've launched it on your desktop, this is how it looks before everything. So now to get it working, what do you actually have to do? You have to set an account. You have to set an account. Now, what do you need to set an account? You need an email. Good? Yeah, you need an email. So you come here, tap on login, then you can continue with Google. Now you choose which of these, okay, you choose any of your emails that you want. I'll decide to go with this. Then sign in. So from here, it tells me Google Anti-Gravity, you have successfully authenticated. Yeah, that means I've launched it proper. So you just click on next. So when it shows this profile here, yeah, if it shows whichever profile you've set, if it shows it, then it means you have opened. You have opened it successfully. Now this is what you should know about anti-gravity, is that it operates on a free tier and then premium tier. Now the free tier, they give specific amounts of tokens per email. Now that means whenever you're building anything with this email, you realize that sometimes your tokens expire before you're actually done with what you're building. We might witness it here as we are building. Tokens for this specific email actually done with what I'm meant to build. Now what you do here, simple. You still just go back, tap on this, then sign out. So when you sign out, when you sign out, it will take you back to the initial interface where it taps, so where it shows the login button where you have to log in. Then you log in with a fresh email. So you can log in with, you can have as many emails as you want. Or if you want to save yourself that frustration and all that, those who have the money, you can get a premium account, which I think goes for about $20 per month. Yeah. All right. So now I want to open the folder that I'll be working on. Yeah. Just go to desktop direct. It was this receipt generator. Okay. Now I'm done with that. So right now I've fed the folder into anti-gravity, but I haven't told it to do anything. I've basically just given it the UI and UX experience. Sorry, the UI and UX of what I'm meant to build. So what's the purpose? It's going to help me build the back end, or how the system will be operating. Now, what I can do here first is I'll tell it to merge sorry. Now, the reason as why I'm telling you to merge all the files in this folder, sometimes it may treat each file. Okay, it may, sometimes if, let me say, if I've deployed it to GitHub and I'm running it on my browser, it may just show me only HTML without CSS. So it's best you tell it to merge all the files. It merges the CML together. Yeah, then you have your UI running. So you just hit the blue back, hit enter, and it starts working. So as we are doing this, I would suggest maybe we be creating a GitHub repository for this for this system, so that I can even post it in the cloud. All right. So still open a new tab. Now I'm assuming we all know we create GitHub repository since we have all since we have all been attending the previous session. So now this is the thing with anti-gravity. It will keep sending you notifications or these blue buttons that you have to keep tapping. Like for it to continue executing its work, it will keep sending you blue notifications. I mean, it will keep sending you notifications with blue buttons that you have to keep tapping. So what you do, you keep on tapping every blue button until it tells you that everything has successfully been done. So what it has done here, now what's the beauty? The beauty about anti-gravity, that it even gives you an implementation plan. It shows you what it's going to do. So you can give it a prompt, then it analyzes the prompt, then it gives you an implementation plan, the steps it's going to follow. So you read through these steps, but most people choose not to read, but it's best to read through the steps. Since I told you AI hallucinates, all AI hallucinates. So it may be hallucinating around different information and actually and gives and suggests an implementation that you wouldn't want to. So what you do, if you've read everything and you consent it, just click on proceed. It proceeds whatever it was doing. So you could still go back a repository for it. Proceed. Yeah, later. Okay. Now this is my repo. I can choose to invite different collaborators. Let me and now you actually don't have to leave. You don't have to leave this page because it will keep on. It keeps on sending continuously. So now that you can't other tabs, or you can't keep doing other things. But since we have limited time, okay. Now, if you've realized anti-gravity is the one that has opened this tab, you're seeing, it's not me that has opened it. So now what is it trying to do here? It's trying to visualize everything itself in a way that, now why am I telling you that it's actually the best tool to use? What anti-gravity does is that when you give it a prompt, it will execute whatever you've told it to do, and it will open, it will open a tab and then run it locally, like run a local host, and then see if it has actually done what you've asked it to do, without any manual interference, manual interferences. It does it automatically. Now, until it has achieved whatever the user has prompted it to do, that's how it will leave. So you can choose to, if you want, you could close it. Or anyway, let me just choose to close it. So I'm still seeing a blue button here. You can tap on it still. And now you see what I'm trying to say. It has now opened it, so it has merged everything. Okay. Just to add a collaborator. Now, I'm not explaining this so much because we have had sessions on these already. Now, you should be very, very patient because it really takes its time to build whatever you want it to build for you. But at the end of the day, you come up with something superb. Okay, as it's still working, we can go back just to save time. We can go back and still continue with our program. So by the end of, by the time anti-gravity is done with whatever it's doing here, we would have just built the UI and UX of the system, but not the back end. So I'll come back to Gemini again and tell it, now based on the system architecture. Sorry, based on the XML code of the system architecture. Of the software I want to generate master prompt for the back end of this software. So it has generated for me this master prompt, and now I've based on the XML code that it generated initially, the XML code that created this diagram here. So I don't have to again maybe copy this diagram and paste it into anti-gravity. Since I already have history with Gemini, and it's done that actually gave me the code that that created this image, I simply just have to prompt it as I did. Then it will generate for me now. It will generate for me a master prompt that will build the back end. Or what I mean by back end is how the software will actually work and execute its purpose. Okay. Yeah, those who have used anti-gravity really know how much time it takes to just execute a single prompt you are given it. And remember, what we are doing here is simply just still merging these folders. Sorry, these files here. We haven't yet given it the prompt to build the back end of the system.
Yeah, to be honest, I will need to recap again because I'm lost somewhere going from different tab to different tab. Like I will need another recap on this one because I've been going on back and forth, so I'm lost somewhere. I'm not even following no more.
Oh, but I'm sure the meeting is being recorded and everything will be shared. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah.
All I can say these are things that you need someone to tell you what to do. Okay, you just need someone to give you insights, show you for the first time, like what I'm doing here. Then most of these other things, manipulating and maneuvering your way through these tools, most of them you did by yourself. So you don't actually have to get worried, and no one is saying that you should more master that has been done here today. Now you can go back, rehearse a bit, practice, create something. Doesn't have to be something maybe to this software's like small landing page. Anyways, as it's still anti-gravity is still working. I would love this from any other person. Am I too fast? How are you finding the session so far? Yes, engineer
Okay, okay. Like what I have to say is, I'm a bit, I'm a little bit lost. Maybe just because I just joined in late last week, so the other sessions I didn't attend. So I actually, even in this same call, I joined in when you've at least moved a few minutes. So I'm still confused on exactly what transpired before.
Okay, get your concern about about the other sessions you missed. I'm sure most you could actually show page. Most of these sessions have been uploaded there, videos, and yeah, you can watch them. Then what we are doing here right now is that we are demonstrating how we can build or come up with a simple software using AI, using the different AI tools you get, but following the system development life cycle, the one that every software developer should follow when coming up with or coming up or building any system. Yeah. Anyways, as you can see here, it is done merging everything. Now, what I'm going to do right now is before building the back end, I want to push these changes to GitHub. So now you realize here, we aren't going to go through the other hurdle of the different git commands, the git init, the git add, git push, and all those. Anti-gravity will automatically do them for you. But still, I'm not saying that you shouldn't know the other ones. In fact, if maybe you didn't you didn't get the previous sessions proper, like whatever was lectured there or whatever was presented there, I would advise you went and reviewed those videos that were uploaded. So now I'm going to tell it. I want you to add and commit all these changes to the main repo, to the main repository. Now, you don't just type, you don't just prompt it like that because it doesn't know which repository am I doing, am I committing to. Now, what you do is you go back to GitHub where that repository is, then you copy the repository link, which is this. Then now you come and paste it. So as you're seeing, it's right that we're actually being presented to you guys that init for initialization, then the git status. We're checking the status of all the files that are then the git adding it to the staging phase. So as I said, every blue button that keeps on popping up, guys, let me turn off these notifications. Okay, so any blue button that keeps on popping up, you just keep tapping it. Okay, so it's done with whatever it is. So it's telling me I've successfully initialized the stage, and so it has notified me that it has successfully pushed. Now what I do, I go back to tab to my repo, then I can refresh it. Okay, so as you can see here right now, is that as you can see right now, I've made only commit yet. You have all those files that have been, I've only made one commit, and it's reflecting me as the contributor. So in case, sorry, as the contributor. So in case any other person I've invited contributes or makes any changes and also commits, then it will also do the same. So now let's continue with building our system. So remember that Gemini had already generated a master prompt for development of the back end of the system. Now our work here is simply just to copy the code, come to anti-gravity and paste it. So you can continue your prompt and tell it, I want you to build this. Sorry, I want you to execute this without crashing the system. So why am I emphasizing that? Why am I emphasizing that? I wanted to execute the prompt and even it without crashing. So it means that whichever step that it will be doing, whichever step it takes in implementation of the prompt given it will have to take and see. Yeah, it will have to check, because most times when you prompt it, or when you feed these tools, okay, it has generated a prompt for us. Sorry, an implementation plan, and just type proceed. So as I was saying, when you feed these tools with a massive prompt like that, what they do as they are building this, they tend to crash the system. Sometimes you go and run this, you go and run your whatever, you go and run it, you run it in a browser, and it's just displaying a white page or rendering an error for you. Now that's also caused by that tool. So you have to keep on prompting it. Or at times you wouldn't say that I want you to build it without crashing it. You can tell it to build it step by step while testing. So it means whichever phase that it builds or builds, it tests it and see. It repeats again. Whichever step it builds, it tests it. Yeah, just step by step so that you don't crash all your hard work goes. Wow. So I've hit my I'll hit my link. This is what I've seen. So it tells me my model quota has hit. So it means I cannot proceed at this point. So it means if I don't have any other free email, at this point I've stopped here. So that's where AI can now get frustrating and okay, free things. Now what I do here, I'm sure I have emails with tokens. So I'm going to sign out from this account. I logged in again using another email that actually has tokens. And what you should do is don't get worried about you losing whatever you've done. Now it keeps track of whatever you've been doing, and it will just continue from where you stopped. As you see, it brought me back where I stopped. So simply just tell it to proceed. So as you see here, before accept because it has. So here it's telling now I will write the core API endpoints. So if I don't consent this and I don't like the next step it's taking, I can simply reject. it. But what I'm doing right now is I'm assuming that we are consenting whatever it's giving us. But if you're working on an actual project, you should keep on reading consent everything. So now, at this point, this is also the beauty of now knowing other languages. I'll tell you here, I'm right at virtual environment. It means at some point it's going to use Python in the development of the back end. So it will at some point give you Python code, and if you don't have any knowledge in Python, it means you won't really understand whatever it's telling you to do. So that's why I say it's best you use AI tools or build using these AI tools when you already have background knowledge on software development and the different languages involved. So I can still tell it to proceed. So you can now only had 3 files. It was codedesign.md, then index.html. So it has also added the other files. We have like the backend, then this screen.png. What this means is that now you realize that the others are all not. Then this is red. Means all these others actually been executed and pushed. But then this one here is done. It's working. It's done that it's currently working on. That's why it's red. It's an red font. Yeah. So you just keep prompting it to proceed until it tells you now it has successfully done whatever you've successfully built the back end for this. Now, another beauty with is that sometimes we don't have like virtual environments, certain virtual environments. Now, realize, let me say, if you're building or in Python code, you actually need to have you actually need to have launched in the IDE you're using, maybe if it's VS Code or yeah, it's also the same as a C code. You can't write C code, you can't write C and get an output in VS Code if you haven't set the so it's the same thing. Now what anti-gravity does, since it's also an IDE, like VS Code as it's built, its UI it literally looks like VS Code. So since it's also an IDE, what it does is that it does what but it installs these elements for you automatically without you having to get the different extensions for it and all those. It automatically does it for you without any maintenance. So as you see here, so since I haven't really used, I haven't really built anything on Python from the time it was dated, it's now reinstalling all these environments for me. So that's why you see it's these like Python installation and the rest. Okay, as it's working, I can still get more feedback from the rest. I've heard from engineer BFG and Madit. The rest can also get your insights about this session so far. Or if you're following, you can simply drop an emoji just to know that I'm having people here. Okay, thank you. Yeah, really takes its time. Bring what you want. Yes, Mr. Edson.
Oh,
Mr.
yes.
Edson,
Yes. Did you finish?
we're still working. Brother, I'll get your
Okay.
insights on how the session is going so far.
Yeah, so far the session is fantastic. I'm following. Just that when you called me, I was trying to text somebody something. It's going on well, and I can see most people are engaged in it. And this is how we get to know that this is what people want, because at times you might be training things, but they're not really making a lot of sense to people. But given the fact that this is what is happening in the industry today, it is very, very relevant, you know. And just like you said in the beginning, you may not be a master, but if anyone has another way, he does what he does, it's open to sharing. So far, I think I haven't had anyone that is chipping in. Maybe I did hear from there was a chip in which was really very good from Rebecca, which was to do with the Resa.io, which was good. So yeah, so far so good. I was looking at we should end at 4, and then you can carry on from next week with the session, since most people want the recording, and if it's too long, then it will be so hard for them to, you know, to review. So we can stop it at 4, and then in the next session next week, you can do a full review of this, and then you can carry forward.
Fine. Okay, thank you so much. I see a reho. Say something in the chat. Okay. Anyways, as you can see here, the thing is, this may build for a very long time, even past the time that you are meant to end. I shall end at 4 and proceed with it next. Let's go and try doing our pages.
Evans, are you still on the call?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, I think we couldn't hear you, but I think you had said that we're going to start from here, right?
Yeah, shall start from here.
All right,
I'll
perfect. Thank you. Let me stop the recording. Thank you for everybody being on the call. And I understand how interactive the session was, the complexities. But of course, that's the reason why you're here, to basically receive what complements what you basically covered in class. So these are challenges in the industry, and the industry is not straightforward. There is when something works. There is when you spend 24 hours trying to fix a bug. So thank you, and the session has been recorded. I'll upload it. Thank you, and see you tomorrow and hear from you tomorrow. Thank you. Tomorrow's session start from 10 a.m. Thank you. Bye.
also be sharing the link to
Okay,
the
great.
project.